What if I told you that one of the most trusted car brands in the world spent years lying to your face? Not a small lie, not a rounding error, a deliberate engineered deception built directly into 11 million vehicles that fooled regulators on 2 continents for over 6 years. This is the story of how Volkswagen built the most sophisticated corporate cheat in history, and then watched it all collapse. The rise, setting the scene. By 2015, Volkswagen wasn't just a car company, it was a symbol of German engineering, the brand that gave the world the Beetle, the Golf, the Passat. In 2015, they overtook Toyota to briefly become the largest automaker on the planet. Revenue, over $200 billion a year. Employees, 600,000 people worldwide. And they had a plan to dominate the American market, a market that had always been tough for European brands. That plan had one name: clean diesel. The pitch was genius. Diesel engines that were fuel-efficient, powerful, and, crucially, environmentally friendly. VW's marketing called it TDI Clean Diesel. Ads showed happy families driving through pristine forests. The message was clear: you can feel good about this car. American consumers bought in. So did investors. So did regulators. There was just one problem. It was all a lie. The secret how the cheat worked inside every VW diesel engine was a piece of software, a small block of code. Engineers called it a defeat device. Here's what it did. When the car detected it was being emissions tested, based on steering wheel position, speed patterns, even barometric pressure, it switched into a special low-emission mode. Everything looked clean, compliant, perfect. The moment the test ended, the car switched back to normal mode, and in normal mode, it pumped out nitrogen oxide at up to 40 times the legal limit. 40 times. Let that sink in. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a rogue engineer. Internal documents later showed this decision went all the way up the chain. It was a calculated business choice. Keep emissions controls weak to maximize performance and fuel economy, and just program the car to lie when it was being watched. And for 6 years, it worked. The discovery. A lab in West Virginia. In 2014, a tiny research team from West Virginia University was hired by a nonprofit called the International Council on Clean Transportation. Their job? Study real-world diesel emissions, not to catch anyone, just routine research. They strapped portable emission sensors to VW diesel cars and drove them across the country, California to Seattle. Regular roads, regular driving. What they found didn't make sense. The cars were clean in the lab, but on the road, the emissions numbers were off the charts. They reported their findings to the EPA. The EPA confronted Volkswagen in 2014. VW dismissed it, said it was a technical glitch, a software anomaly. They issued a recall. They fixed it. The EPA ran the tests again, still failing. In September 2015, the EPA sent VW a formal notice of violation. This time, there was no escape. The collapse. 48 hours, that changed. Everything. September 18, 2015, the EPA went public. Within 24 hours, VW stock dropped 20%. By the end of the week, down 40%. Over $26 billion in market cap, gone. In 2 days. CEO. Martin Winterkorn gave a statement. He apologized, called it a grave crisis. 4 days later, he resigned. The scandal exploded globally. Germany, Europe, Asia. Every market VW operated in launched investigations. Congressional hearings in the U.S. criminal probes in Germany. It turned out the defeat device wasn't just in VW cars, it was in Audi, Porsche, Skoda, Seat, all VW Group brands, all affected. 11.3 million vehicles worldwide, the largest automotive recall in history. The bill, $30 billion and counting. The final price tag, staggering, $14.7 billion. U.S. consumer settlement, the largest ever auto-related payout in American history, $4.3 billion, U.S. criminal and civil penalties, $1 billion plus European fines and settlements, plus billions more in lawsuits, recalls, and legal fees across 50 countries. VW's former CEO was indicted in the U.S., though he stayed in Germany, which doesn't extradite its citizens. Other executives weren't so lucky. Several faced criminal charges. Some went to prison. Total damages? Over $30 billion, all to save on emissions technology that would have cost them maybe $300 per car. The math on that is brutal. The lesson: what every investor needs to know. Here's what Dieselgate actually teaches us about business and money. 1. Short-term cheating destroys long-term value. VW saved pennies per car and spent billions in damages. 2. Reputation is a balance sheet item. VW spent decades building trust. They lost a massive chunk of it in 48 hours. 3. Regulatory risk is real. Any company operating in tightly regulated industries, auto, pharma, finance, energy, has Dieselgate-level bombs sitting somewhere. As an investor, that's always the risk you can't see. 4. The cover-up is always worse than the crime. VW had a year to come clean. They didn't. Every month of denial multiplied their eventual liability. VW eventually rebuilt. They pivoted hard into electric vehicles, partly out of genuine strategy, partly out of necessity. Today, the brand survives, but the scar is permanent. If you want more stories of billion-dollar corporations making billion-dollar mistakes, subscribe. New business scandal every week. I'll see you in the next one.